The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to This Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of This Shit podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Sam Butler. I have a very special guest. You guys have seen him here before. My good friend, Eduardo Espinosa. Lolo, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for coming to the podcast again. And I wanted to talk to you about this particular subject. It's if you take a look at me, you'll figure out that I like talking about food. So we're going to talk about food again.
And what I like about traveling with you is you know where all the good food is.
Oh, yeah, I do. I do.
You're like, oh, yeah, no, you want to try that? No, you got to, no, we're not going to In-N-Out in California. We're going to this, what was that?
The Habit.
Yeah, we're going to The Habit. I'm like, what is that? You're going to love it. And I did. It was great.
It's amazing, right? I know people are like, Whataburger, In-N-Out, Whataburger, In-N-Out, Whataburger. And dude, I've been on like several podcasts where they're like, okay, you're a Texan and you're in California. What is it, Sam? Whataburger or In-N-Out? My official answer? I'll fuck them both. At the same time. I ain't married to either one, you know? It's like, it's doable.
It's weird it's weird that you have to pick sides, but okay.
Yeah, why, dude? I'll lick one and eat and bite it, and then lick the one and bite it. I don't care. It's food. What are we arguing about? You know?
Stop doing those gestures. They're going to flag this as adult content.
Oh, are they really?
No, I'm kidding.
I'm new to this, guys. I dropped an F-bomb, and I don't usually do that, but it was for the cause, you know. But we are going to talk about hamburgers, ironically. You know, hamburger for a while was like my favorite food.
I like it. I think it's a good starting point, and you can do a lot of different things with it. I
used to always argue, like, it's got all of the food groups. You know, it's got it's got bread. It's got cheese, so it's got dairy. You know, it's got beef,
it's got protein, it's got vegetables.
It's got vegetables. You know, pickles count, right? You know, and but no, that's how I got the way I got eating cheese. Actually, as I got older, I lost my desire to eat hamburgers. I don't know if that's normal or not, but
it's because you don't get toys as an adult.
No, maybe. But when I was in my early 20s, it was like, what do you want to eat? Hamburger. Like, it's your birthday. What do you want to have for dinner? Let's have some hamburgers. You know, hey, you know where they make a really good cheeseburger? And now it's like, I guess I'll have a hamburger. That's weird. It's weird. You know, like how your taste changes as you get older. But we're going to talk about one of the big guys in the hamburger business. In the United States, and I think here in Mexico too. I think
I don't know if it's as common in the south and in the center of Mexico, but
really?
Because I think when Fran Evia came to town to do a show, he specifically asked us to take him to a Wendy's.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. I thought that because there's Taco Bell in Guatemala, so I thought maybe there was Wendy's in the south of Mexico.
I think there is, but I don't see it around.
It's not as common.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's McDonald's and Burger King. It's
McDonald's. Well, we're gonna talk about Dave Thomas specifically, the founder of Wendy's. You know, he had an interesting life. Dave Thomas was actually adopted.
Okay.
He was adopted. And his adoptive mother.
Oh my God! And that's why he didn't fit in, and he decided to, make a square beef patty.
There's some. No, not necessarily that, but he had adoptive parents.
He's like, I'm a square peg in a round hole. You're gonna eat a square beef in a round bun.
You're not that far off.
Really?
You're not that far off, but it's not necessarily that, but you're not that far off. But what happened with him is that he gets adopted, and he finds out that, he doesn't find out. He gets adopted, and a few years after he gets adopted, his adoptive mother passes away.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's not as fun as
it's not.
imagined.
It's not cool. Yeah. So what happened with him is that he ended up living with his adoptive father, and his adoptive father always struggled financially.
Okay.
Right. So he ended up having to move all the time, and they spent a lot of time walking in the street. Because the father didn't make good money, struggled to make money. The good thing is he took him with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was responsible, and he was
But it said that he ended up having this like sleep at the YMCA all the time. You know, and if you guys don't know, the YMCA actually rents rooms. Like they have gyms and stuff like that.
And they have dance-offs.
Yeah, they have dance-offs. What? No, but they do. The YMCA. A lot of they have like low budget dormitories you can rent for the night and stuff like that. So it's like so he spent a lot of time in the street, almost like a homeless kid, you know.
Okay.
But his dad kept him around, you know. And a weird fact about that is that he never had good fitting shoes, so he actually had a little bit of a deformity with his feet from that. He developed a deformity.
Shoes were too tight.
They're too tight, or they didn't fit right. So he had this quirk where he wouldn't let anybody ever see his feet.
Okay.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
But that was his thing. And it was from being like practically a homeless kid, you know. And so he stuck with his dad. He had a lot of loving support from his dad's side of the family, from his grandmother, and so on and so forth. Which goes back to what we were talking about. We'll talk about her a little bit further down the line. But Dave Thomas decided he wanted to work in the restaurant industry. And the reason he wanted to work in the restaurant industry,
it's because he wanted food. Yeah.
He said
makes sense.
He said, you know,
can't grow. Yeah, you can't go hungry in the kitchen.
That's right. And that was his mindset. He said, I would want to own a restaurant so that I can eat whenever I want. And I don't want to ever struggle to have food.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You know, and so he got involved, and I have the details here, but I don't know that we have enough time to go through all of it. But he got involved with the gentleman. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Well, he got involved with the gentleman that actually sold the recipe for the 11 herbs and spices to KFC.
Okay.
To Colonel Sanders.
Cool.
He actually worked with Colonel Sanders. There's actually pictures of him dressed as like Colonel Sanders with Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders and Lieutenant Thomas. Lieutenant Thomas would have been a good pairing.
Yeah. So he was involved in the early stages of the KFC thing.
Okay. Is that why? Because I'm gonna say my favorite sandwich from Wendy's
is the chicken sandwich,
the crispy chicken sandwich.
Maybe
it's the best one that they have. And it's better than pretty much everything. It's the best, not counting Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. It's the best chicken sandwich.
It's the best chicken sandwich. Yeah. I mean, I think that may have come about later in the Wendy's. Because what happened with him is he actually retired.
Okay.
And he sold, his company went public, Wendy's. He named it after his daughter. His daughter's name was Melinda. He actually had 5 kids.
Damn.
And he loved his kids. That was one of the things. He loved his kids very much, but he hated spending time with them. He said, we just get on each other's nerves, you know?
He just named them like 1 through 5, like if they were combos. Hey,
can I get a number 1?
Yeah. You know what? I'm in no mood for a number 3 today. So can you go to your room?
Yeah. So... Do you want that supersized? You know? But he developed his hamburger restaurant, and Wendy's was named it after his daughter. Her name was Melinda, but her nickname was Wendy, and that's the character that you see on the Wendy's logo is his daughter. There's
no way he could have, convinced his other kids that he had no favorites.
He had no favorites. That argument did not work at his house. Yeah. But he was one of the first guys. He was from Ohio, so he's one of the first guys to have like a drive-through. Cool. And it says that he was like, I'm gonna have a grill at the drive-through so that the drive-through traffic gets their food faster. Okay. So that was kind of a revolutionary thing. And then the people back then weren't used to going through drive-throughs. Mm-hmm. So one of his daughters worked there. She'd run outside and take the order if they couldn't figure out the speaker.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good.
So maybe Chick-fil-A got that from her, But,
yeah, maybe.
But so he was very successful with the burger thing. Getting back to the square patties, there's a couple of theories of how he ended up with the square patties. They say that he did it for several reasons. The first reason that they think he did it, there's no official reason, but the first reason that they think he did it was because back in that time, all of the mass hamburger manufacturers were would manufacture round patties.
Right.
So he did a square one to show you that it was made fresh.
Okay.
Right. And so he had that, like the article even said that even today, they're like, you have to make the patties fresh, which I don't believe, but I don't think they're fresh. But, and then the other thing that his grandmother told him was that you should never cut corners in life.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Don't cut corners.
Don't cut corners.
Yeah, they use that as a promo for something.
Yeah.
I remember.
We don't cut any corners.
Yeah, we don't cut any corners.
So that was
something like that.
So that was the other idea. And then the third one is that his favorite hamburger place growing up in Ohio actually had square patties. So they think he kind of jacked the idea from that. Like,
okay.
So it was kind of like those three things.
I think it might have been the third one.
The third one sounds more realistic.
Yeah, then they kind of romanticized it a bit.
Yeah, But the place that he liked to go eat burgers had square patties.
Yeah, it's the third one, and then the other two ones were just focus grouped at a marketing firm.
Well, he had bought shares in Kentucky because he was involved with Colonel Sanders before Colonel Sanders became Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Okay.
So when he became Kentucky Fried Chicken, the guy that he worked for actually had a bunch of franchises.
Okay, cool.
And that bought a bunch of franchises, and then the franchises weren't doing so good, so they actually sent Dave Thomas in to kind of get him running again,
prop him up. Okay.
But then he bought shares in Kentucky Fried Chicken too, and it says that he sold those back to Colonel Sanders for like $1.5 million at one point.
Okay.
Right. So we're talking about like 70s, 60s, right? 70s, So you're talking about like a lot of money. And the guy was now on his way.
And also to have the vision to buy stocks at a place that you work at.
Yeah.
Like most people don't even know how to go about that. So that's...
My dad told me, he said, yeah, this one guy called me on the phone and said if I wanted to buy something called Yahoo, and I said, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you. He goes, God, I wish I bought that. This was back in the 2000s.
Yeah, and now they're probably going to be calling people again, but just to upload it. Like,
dude,
can you want it? Yeah. We'll pay you to take it.
But if my dad had bought it, he would have made a lot of money, So it's one of those things that, it takes vision, it takes guts.
Yep.
If you're struggling and you're buying stock, it takes guts. But in 1982, he was publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
Cool.
He retired. He had a home in Florida. He had a bunch of different places. And he had like 4 homes across, and he owned a golf course.
Yeah, but I remember that day. I mean, even though he was retired, like he would still appear in the ad campaigns and stuff.
Well, Wendy started going down the drain.
Oh, okay. So that explains it.
So in 1991, he came back. He came back like as a spokesperson. And they said that he was really nervous and awkward on TV. And the people shooting the commercials were worried about that, but that the public loved him.
Well, yeah, because it makes him, relatable. He's real. He's not just some shiny guy saying, buy this hamburger.
He's not a car salesman, selling hamburgers. Yeah. So they really, the public took to him. I remember in the 80s, Wendy's big campaign was, where's the beef?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I know about it because it was...
It was huge. Yeah. It was huge. This old lady would come out, and if you guys remember, she'd come out, and you can YouTube them still, the commercials, and she'd open up the other people's burgers, and it was like this little patty. She'd go, where's the beef? And just the way she did it,
where's the beef? Yeah, like
deadpan,
like just a grandma complaining,
and it just became this slogan. I mean, they would sell "Where's the beef" T-shirts. They'd sell, it was almost as big as like Catch the Wave Coke in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? It was like Max Headroom and all that stuff, it was a very 80s thing. Where's the beef? Or Time to Make the Donuts. That was a very 80s thing, Dunkin' Donuts. So huge campaign. I think we were talking about this even earlier. Even I think Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, I think that's where I first learned about it. Like I was reading about Reagan and that he made that reference in one of his speeches. Like it was a very popular thing.
Yeah, because it became a pop culture thing where it was like a way to complain about inadequacies and stuff. Hey, where's the beef? Show me the beef. That kind of a thing. So it was a. The guy had an amazing contribution to pop culture, to American culture. He invented the Frosty. Do they have Frosties in Wendy's here in Mexico? Okay, so his thing about the Frosty
people
was...
like dipping the fries in them.
Yeah. He was like, I want to make something that's thicker than a milkshake, but not as thick as ice cream that you eat with... that you actually eat with a spoon.
Okay.
And then he actually took...
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's very specific to have that vision. Be like, okay, I think this would be a good product. Yeah. And he's not just like, oh yeah, we'll just, just sell ice cream. No, he's like, I want to make our own thing that is not ice cream and that you can only find it here, like the square patties. Like that's pretty good.
Square patties. He actually would have to because he only had one mixer, so he would hand mix vanilla and chocolate ice cream together.
Okay.
And he said he had to put vanilla in it because he thought that the chocolate would overpower the taste of the fries in the burger.
Okay.
So it goes back to what you're saying. People like putting their fries in the Frosty because it's the right amount of vanilla and chocolate.
Yeah, sweet and salty.
Yeah. He also introduced baked potatoes, which was unheard of. And he introduced a salad. He was the first guy to put a salad bar in a burger joint.
Oh, cool.
So he had a salad bar. So
and you already have the elements of a salad.
Yeah, you gotta
just buy more lettuce and tomato and put it out there.
A big vat of mustard and ketchup.
Yeah, you can make it work.
Yeah, and so Dave Thomas was a real pioneer. But the whole reason that I went into this and I started reading about him and I thought it was interesting is that he was a high school dropout.
Okay, so he's one of those examples, right? Like the people who were...
But he hated that example.
Oh, right. I read about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went back to high school.
He went back to high school
and he got his diploma. And I think he got his diploma in 1991.
Damn.
Right? And he was able to take his wife to prom.
Wow, that's pretty
and I
cool.
think he was like the prom king. Obviously, if Dave Thomas has come to my high school, the owner of Wendy's, we're gonna vote for him to be prom king.
But he king, but he has to do the catering.
Yeah, but he got his diploma and he wanted to show kids that the first step is his education. He didn't necessarily not get his diploma.
Right, because there's because he didn't get it due to the circumstances. He was a homeless kid. He had to work. He had to make a living. And that's the reason why. But he chose to go back because there's this whole thing like we tend to romanticize people who don't go to school and make it big, and it can be done. Like right now, I'm getting an online degree. Like I don't have a degree. I dropped out of university 3 times, and I'm like I'm gonna get it because it can't hurt, and it's gonna be a good example. And like my dad didn't have a degree. He didn't even finish high school. Mm-hmm. He only got a middle school, which is secondary. He only had that, and I like my uncle, who's also a contractor. He only finished high school, and they both
did well.
Yeah, they both did well, but they both told us to
go to school,
and I think that's great that he knew he was being used as an example. He's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, go to school.
Yeah, go to school, and
he didn't want to discourage youth.
Eat your fries.
Yeah, like me personally, I dropped out of high school. Mm-hmm. But I was already a certified welder, and I was like, I don't need high school.
You already have a trade.
And then 10 years later, they're like, do you want to teach? And I was like, I didn't even finish high school. I said, Sam, you got to finish high school. So I went to a private school at night.
Okay.
And I paid my tuition, and I tested out of all my subjects.
Did you get a GED?
No, I got a diploma.
Oh, you got it?
Because I went to a private school.
Okay.
At the time I was making good money. I paid for my high school, but I'd have to go like after work, and then I would test it out. Once I got my diploma, then I had to enroll in college to be a teacher.
Okay.
So Lamar State College at Orange, Texas, online. But it took 10 years of me being in industry and making money. So I got to a point where I was making money. That making money wasn't the problem. But you do have to finish. You have to set a goal and finish. And I think it's finishing that goal. My business partner, he has a degree in engineering from the University of Texas.
Okay.
Never once practiced as an engineer. I mean, he was a contractor, but he said, Sam, the thing about college is you start and you finish. And it's the discipline of starting and finishing that you're really learning. And so that's the thing with anything. So you got to start and finish.
That's pretty respectable.
And he says, hey, I love being an engineer. It definitely helped me in what we do. But I never once became a PE, a public engineer. He never did that. And he said, I didn't have to do that. That wasn't where I went. But I did start and finish. And that's the goal. And so shout out to Phil. I know you're listening. But thank you guys. I mean, that's Dave Thomas. He finished school. Good example for everybody. Good tasty hamburgers, salad bars, potatoes.
They were good, yeah. Like here, I don't know if it's. I don't think it's a U.S. thing, But here they have something called the Wendy's pack, which is like a smaller version of the burgers, like a smaller portion.
Like a dollar menu?
Yeah, kind of like a dollar menu. And they have one, which is my favorite out of all the value menus of all the other burger franchises, which is just 2 small beef patties with cheddar cheese and jalapenos.
Oh, wow.
And bacon. And that's my favorite.
That sounds like we got somewhere to go after this.
They also have the big version, which is just called the jalapeno melt, but I like the smaller one for some reason. I don't know why.
You know, I do that, like, and we're going to talk about a different competitor, but I go to McDonald's, and I always get the 2 cheeseburgers.
Okay.
They're like the original, just the pickle, the ketchup, the mustard on them. But they give you 2. And I go, I like the taste of that. It's like that's the original burger they did back in the 50s, you know. So I get what you're saying. That sounds good. And now that I've come to Juarez a lot, I've been having Carl's Jr. here in Juarez, and I think it's way better than we got in the States. Now they're selling you soy. They're telling you we got soy fillers in the burgers, and you're going no, I'm out. Sorry, Carl's Jr. I tried. You know, but that wraps it up for this episode of the Shit Podcast. Thank you for joining us once again. Where can people find you on your social media and stuff?
I am everywhere as Ningun Eduardo. That's Ningun Eduardo.
And of course, I'll be tagging him on my social media. You can find me as Tu Amigo Sam on my social media and on my YouTube page, as well as Sta Cagado Podcast on all the platforms for listening to podcasts. And that's been this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.